Welcome.
To the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 296 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff today. I've got a fun new hat. I was wearing it last week. I forgot to wear it during the stream, even though I talked about it on Twitter. I thought I'd wear my fun new hat today. I even remembered to bring my green screen, so you get to see through my hand sometimes. Isn't that fun? It's amazing. Like Hollywood, this is like industrial light and magic style effects happening right now. Amazing. It's so good to have you here. Hello. My name's Mike Conley. Let's get started. Badoo. Today is August 3rd, 2022. It's episode 296. And a reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today. I think I know how I want to go about doing it from like a very vague high level sense, but I actually don't know how things are going to go. Like I haven't pre-written any of the code, so things might go wrong, might get sidetracked, might get, go completely sideways. Last week, for example, the temperature in this room, I guess the airflow is a lot better, but last week the airflow was garbage. I was like overheating in here. I think I started to lose my mind a little bit. I had a really hard time sort of concentrating and focusing, so it was a little bit scattered. This week, hopefully, it'll be a little bit better. It does feel a little bit cooler, but hopefully I'm not just imagining it. But yeah, things could go wrong. I might end up just, fiddling with my green screen the whole time because it looks like the lighting's all wrong. But, we'll see how it goes. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the agenda that we're looking at is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on... Oh, hang on. Whoopsie daisy. If you're watching this on AirMozilla, let me just, there we go. If you're watching this on AirMozilla, you have access to the agenda via the details section to that way, on the details section on that side, to your left, my right. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the video description. Same goes for diode.zone. And if you're watching this on Twitch, let me just quickly drop the agenda into the Twitch chat. We're down all the way here to 296. Booyah shaka. Here's the agenda. Hopefully that shows up for you in the Twitch chat. I don't know if people can see that. I just checked the Twitch chat. I don't see anything. Are people in the Twitch chat able to see the agenda? I don't know if anyone's actually watching the stream. Not yet. Uh-oh. Okay, so I had to restart my bridge. Or I restarted the server that the bridge runs on. I might need to reboot that thing. So just, how's it going, Smurfy? Thanks for confirming. Let me quickly restart the bridge because that might need a swift kick. So just give me a quick second. In the meantime, check out the agenda. I will be re-putting it into the chat for the Twitch gang in just a second. So let me shut off the bridge, turn on the bridge, let it reconnect to everything. Smurfy's like, hey, it's okay. Hey, Smurfy says it's all right. We're halfway to the weekend. I like that attitude, Let's just take it easy here. This is a low stress environment. We don't have to get too upset. There we go. The bridge is working. I just sent the agenda to the Twitch chat. That seems to be working again. Hey, we're going to make it, people. We're going to be okay. Fantastic. I see Smurf D showing up inside of Matrix. It's incredible. It's the plumbing is working. Thank you, Smurf D. And I'm getting a nice cool breeze. This is incredible. Everything's coming up, M. Conley. What do I want to work on today? I wanted to continue what we were doing last week. I feel like last week was like this big journey to get back to where we'd already been at the end of the previous episode, which was to figure out that we wanted to update how the Windows task tray works for permanent private browsing windows. And then we realized that it's not really set up for testing. Hey, Paul, good PBZ's in the chat. Great to see you. That's a wave right there, so waving back. And I wanted to look at that again. And the first thing I wanted to do, I'd started to write down some things to do. And the first thing I wanted to do, I think we wrote this down last week, and I want to just attack it right from the get-go. We'll work through this list here. where I want to make it possible to manually test the Windows jump list stuff, because right now, if I like launch, let's say I launch with a particular profile. I think I had called it PB mode. Is that what I called it? Yeah. So I've got my permanent private browsing mode. Not now. And then I like right click on this and I say, hey, open a new window or open a new tab. It opens a new browser, but this browser, if I look at what profile it's using my default profile. Like it launched my default profile. Like it's using the same Firefox.exe, the one that I built locally. You can see the binaries here, but it's pointed at the wrong profile. So let's compare and contrast. If I put this one on the right, put this one on the left. I've always loved that feature of Windows 7 and up. This is the profile folder that we want, and whenever I right clicked and chose to like open a new tab, it ended up doing that, but inside of like my default nightly, and I don't want that. That I don't think is a problem if you've only got a single profile, which I think the vast majority of our users do. But if you're doing development or if you have multiple profiles, that's a pain. And maybe this wouldn't be an issue even if I had this as like installed as a normal install of Firefox. Like this might be a problem only if you have. In fact, let me try that right now. I've got a Nightly installed right here. Let's launch Nightly. Let's create a new profile. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say about, let's make sure this thing's up to date. Oh yeah, this is way out of date. We're going to update my Nightly on this thing. So now we should be up to date. Yeah, that's today's date. Now we're going to go to About Profiles. And we're using default Nightly 2. Let's create a new one. Let's call it PB Mode 2. And we're going to make that the default profile. Like I'm going to launch it. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to go back to About Profiles here. We're going to say, no, don't print it. I'm looking for PB Mode 2. It's in use and it cannot be deleted. How do I set it as the default profile? Maybe it thinks this one is the default profile, and that's why all of these ones have set as default profile. I guess this one is this is the default profile, is PB Mode 2. So if I made a different one the default profile, like this one, and now I right click on this and I say open a new tab, what is it going to do? What profile does it open? Yeah, it opened up my default profile, not the one I was currently on. It opened the default one. So that's true even if this is a normal install. Like I'm pretty sure this install of Firefox Nightly was via like the stub installer. So that's a bug. And I don't know how many people use the task tray here. That seems a little unintuitive. And maybe we can fix this as part of what we're doing here. So that's all part of this like jump list stuff, Windows jump lists. And you know, ultimately what the jump list code is doing is it's constructing these basically command lines that we pass to the operating system, say like execute this command line. So let's see. Where do we actually... I was looking at this last week, and I've completely forgotten how this works, but there's like the opening of a new window, for example, and it has these args. What happens to those args? We construct a task using getHandlerAppItem, and what that is like, okay, well, we're going to construct a local handler app instance. I don't know what that interface is, but then we pass it the name of the executable, which is the XREEXEF, which I think is like, hey, find me the executable that I'm currently using. Get me the path to that. So we pass it the same executable, and then we pass it like a bunch, whoopsie daisy. We pass it some additional args, and there's the description, and I believe the description is just the string that shows up down here. And then an index, an icon index, because we have to like do something with icons in a file that has indexes. And then maybe a URI if we're passing create an instance. Wait, yeah. If there's a favicon page URI, we set it. So like the item, we say it's null if we're building the built-in tasks. Okay. So like notably, the args that we pass in don't include information about the current profile. And I wonder if we can make this a little bit simpler by appending which profile, like the name of the current profile. Like that's my first instinct, is when we construct these things, along with the args that we, I don't know, build item. What was it? Build. Man, I can't find anything that I want here. Build task. Here, this thing. Get handler app item. Handler app item. That's the thing that we care about. Okay, so see where we like append the parameter? I'm wondering if we could append an additional parameter, which is, hey, this is the name of the profile that I'm currently in. That seems like it'd be reasonably straightforward. And we might even need to include the no remote thing. I can't exactly remember what that's for. Let's look up if it's possible for us to get the current profile name. I think it is. Like, obviously it is. If we go to about profiles, like if we go about profiles, it's generating, like it is able to get these names. So presumably we can do the same thing. So what powers about profiles? Let's find out. Let's find the source code for about profiles. See if it's called about, yeah, it is. How does it work? So there's this thing called the profile service. And we can flush it. And then what we do, we can get the default profile from the profile. We can also get the current profile. That's what we want. The current profile from the profile service. So let's take a look at this interface, because I have a feeling that's going to be what we want here. So the profile service returns the current profile, which is an NSI toolkit profile. And that thing, I just need the name. I just need the name. Directory, local directory, unlock, replace lock time. Oh, that's a profile lock. Root directory, the name of the profile. That's what I want. Woohoo! Okay, so I wonder if actually we should just, because I think -p will also take a path. I don't know if it's, if we want to pass the path or just the name. It might be just fine to pass the name. Let's do that for now. Location of the profile, local directory, maybe is the same as the root directory. Yeah, see, I don't have to deal with all of this. Let's just pass in the name and have the platform figure out which directory to use. Locking it. Yeah, I don't want to lock, unlock profiles. Okay, let's start by seeing if we can like create. We don't need to create an instance of the service every time. We can create a lazy one. So like xpcom utils define lazy service getter. We're gonna create a lazy or I guess the convention here is underscores profile service, and the invocation about profiles.js. The magic that we want. This is it. This is the identifier, like the contract ID, and that's the interface. SI toolkit profile service. Okay. Yeah, okay. Get handler app item. Now, I don't want to. We're starting. I worry that if we start trying to read information like this, that because this is an older thing, it might be reading it like synchronously off disk. So I'd like to understand more about the profile service. Profile service. Get current profile. So we have a reference. We don't like slurp it off. We have a reference. That makes sense. And that's something that's set at startup, it looks like. Yeah. Okay. And then get next. Interesting. So a profile can have, it's a linked list. Get current profile, get next. So the head, interesting. So mCurrent, profile. Oh, it's not a linked list. It's a NSI toolkit profile, but presumably it has something called get next on it. Well, that doesn't make any sense. mCurrent toolkit profile, current get next. Somehow it's a linked list. How does that work? How does that work? Magical. Okay. Let's go back to the header. Anything in here about linked list? Aha! A toolkit profile implement. I see. It implements the interface and also is a linked list for the implementation. I understand. And so toolkit profile service knows about that. And presumably the first item in the linked list is the current one. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay, and so this thing also happens to have a name. Let's look at the implementation of this tool. I think it gets implemented in here. Get name, set name, set string, profile database. If we get the name though, it looks like we hold the name in memory. So getting the name is not like a disk access. We cache it, it looks like. That's good. That makes sense to me. So I shouldn't be too scared, I guess. Especially because this list is pretty finite. It's pretty small. Even, you know, even this list of URLs, I think we've capped it at how many? Build list, build tasks, build recent, max item count. Let's refresh prefs. It will be the fourth. So we've got some kind of like preference, max list item count. Oh man, this is so like indirect. Max list item count. So how many items do we show? Like 7. So we've got like less than a dozen items here, I'd say, all told. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe there's some hidden ones that only show up in sometimes, but we're like less than 20. Smurfy asks, is it new in Searchfox that to the outer left you get this line was hit X times per coverage instrumentation? Where'd you see that? Where'd you see that, Smurfy? Did I? Oh, yeah, this does look kind of new. We've got like code coverage statistics in here. That's pretty cool. Neat. Neat. That must be new. Now I'm curious. Let's look inside some code that I've worked on. Like picture-in-picture player. Oh, look at all this coverage. It wasn't instrumented for coverage. Oh, this hit 181 times for coverage. All blue, baby. Okay, there are a couple of... Looks like we've got some red here. Looks like we don't hit some of these for coverage. We've got... Oh, okay, looks like we don't test some of our snapping, corner snapping stuff. But otherwise, relatively decent coverage in this file. I don't know if it's got like a rating. Is there a way I can get a full rating? I don't know. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I didn't realize we had coverage like that now. Okay, so we've got our toolkit profile service and get handler app item. What we're going to do is we're going to append another parameter. Handler app append parameter. We're going to say -p and then the name of the profile. Toolkit profile service. Right? Is that what we called it? Oh, just profile service. Current profile. Current profile, and then what was the just name? Just name. Right? Current profile. Name. This will return null if the current profile path doesn't match a profile in the database. So I guess in theory that could be null if something's gone horribly wrong. So maybe if profile service current profile. I mean, that seems pretty paranoid, but why not? Profile.name. Let's see what that does. Let us now build faster. And let's shut this down. And let us now run with PB mode. Okay, so I'll start by looking at about support. Current profile is PB mode. Right there. Right click. Let's open a new tab. I got a bad feeling about this. What profile? Yeah, it's the wrong profile folder. It's the wrong profile folder, gang. All right, so what went wrong there? Let's see if we can set a breakpoint and debug. Whoops. Do we have the toolbox? Oh, B Heresome's here. You may need to wait a couple minutes for the jump list to rebuild. It happens on startup idle. Interesting. Although, like, I would have expected the first one to have still done this. Like, I even if it was lazy, like I would have expected it to still have done this. So I'm curious. We might need to wait while we're debugging, but maybe we can like poke it and make it run immediately. Let's find out. It's good to have you here. I've got like a bunch of experts in the chat. This is incredible. And now I feel all conscious. All right, profile service. We're going to set a breakpoint right here. And let's see if we can like trigger this so it happens instead of waiting for build tasks. Items. Tasks for each. We create a task. What? What? Where did this come from? Did I screw up somehow? Did I accidentally insert define lazy service getter here? That does not look right. I feel like, yeah, I think I may have accidentally introduced some code with like a bad shortcut. Yeah, I failed. I somehow got and replaced var item. That is unfortunate. So it shouldn't be this. It should be this. So, I mean, I'm surprised something even showed up inside of the directory. Ben says, yeah, it's unclear sometimes. I've noticed it sometimes takes longer than it seems like it should to get a refreshed jump list, though. That's fair. I mean, I'll bet you we can fool it into running quickly, though. Let's see if we can fool it into running quickly. But let's see if what we just did somehow fixes it. That's a no. At least currently a no, but maybe we can get it to refresh. Like maybe we can poke this stuff so that it runs now. Because I guess, yeah, as you're saying it, I realize that like this stuff sticks around even after like we've restarted the browser. Like even if the browser is not running, this stuff exists. Like if I right click on this process that's not running, this stuff exists. So it's like we write something into the operating system and maybe it didn't run on startup. And so maybe we need to somehow poke this stuff. Build tasks. Await start build list. I think that's what I want to do. I want to build list. So I'm going to say Windows jump. I'm going to import this thing. And I'm going to build Windows jump lists. Let's import it. Win taskbar jump list builder. What is the interface to this? Build jump list. Notify observe startup update enabled builder. Oh, the build. Okay, so I want the builder and then build list. I think. Builder. Await. Okay, and now we've entered our breakpoint. I think we hit a reference error, or we hit an exception. Profile service is not defined. Are you sure? Oh, right, because it's on the lazy. Silly me. Profile service. It's on this lazy object. Lazy. All right, let's start again. Ben says it's cached in the registry. Good call. See, I'm learning as I go. I'm so glad to have experts in the channel helping me get my mental model right. So yeah, we might not even write to the jump list on startup immediately. We have to like wait but we can fool it. It looks like we can maybe fool it or like make it do stuff immediately. Win task jump list builder build list async or await. Okay, maybe that worked. I don't know. Open new window. That's different. All right. So it doesn't like that because it's already running, and so I wonder if it needs the no remote part. It's like this is different behavior. So this is interesting because it's like it's complaining that it can't get access to the profile folder because it doesn't realize that we are the ones invoking this, that we don't want a new instance. We want to attach to an existing instance. And I think there's something called no remote that we want to use. Except why use it? No remote prevents external programs from launching links in the... Oh, this is what I want. In order to do this, I use the handy dandy no remote option. However, the documentation on no remote is a little sparse. Let's look at what the option really does and how it came to be. Oh, this is great. Let's learn. Let's learn about no remote. I'm going to put a link to this. I've never read this before. But on the no remote argument, remote refers to remote commands and remote control and command. Firefox remote control functionality traces back to the old days of Firefox's code. This is from Netscape. The above is important to understand for why we have the no remote name. Remote was used to instruct an already running browser. Indeed, it explicitly wouldn't work without an already running browser to communicate with. So in this context, remote came to mean something akin to talk to the already running browser. The remote option was removed. You can execute Firefox again to open a new window or tab in your already running instance. In the old days, the same behavior could be achieved using remote, even on platforms like Windows, where the remote option didn't function. The remote terminology is used to refer to connecting to an existing instance to open new windows or tabs. Thus, it came to be that if you wanted to not talk to an existing instance, if you wanted to open a new instance of the browser, you would switch the environment variable moz no remote, which essentially does the same thing as saying the environment variable. Don't talk to an existing Firefox, start a new instance. But that's not what we want to do. Stage notes, the remote options. No remote was made to also block connections sent to instances started with no remote. While some found this behavior intuitive, others did not. Return for a new switch, new instance. New instance feels like a bit of an awkward option, does not work on Windows. It's difficult to tell what it does differently than no remote. Here we are. No remote prevents the new instance sending or receiving remote commands. New instance which prevents the new instance sending remote commands but can still receive commands. And the original remote is gone. So how do I, like, on Windows, Firefox command line existing instance. Here we go. New. P is case sensitive. This. So what was it saying before? It was saying like, hey, you've got is already running but not responding. So it's like I've got a profile lock. Is already running but not responding. Restart message unlocker. And the app runner. So when we, yeah, the profile is locked. So we can't achieve a lock on a profile. Like if I go into my command line. Let's open a new instance of the command line here. Let's just start messing around. And I go Project Mozilla, or Mozilla Unified, and I find my Firefox executable, and I say pb mode. What happens? It does not like it. That's what we're experiencing. But if I say no remote, what happens? Still doesn't like it. If I say new instance, does it like it? How do I, what in the heck? How do I dash help? Dash help? Dash H? Dash H? Help! Help! Okay, so how do I do this? Does anyone know how to do this? How do I launch Firefox so that it attaches to an existing profile, like it like hands off to an existing instance of the browser? Is this a thing that can be done? Has never heard of / ? Firefox Windows command line existing instance. This is definitely possible. Like if I like just say new window, it uses, I think, the default profile, right? Yeah. It's only, and if I, hang on, let's do an experiment. So we've got the default profile, and now I do that again. See, it's okay with doing it with the default profile. Default nightly 1. Default nightly 1. It's fine with that. It's only whenever I like try and provide the non-default. If I make pb mode the default profile, what happens? If I make pb mode the default profile, and then that works. So it's always, hang on, support. Yeah, it's fine with it so long as it's the default profile. That's the difference. Yeah, Mozilla chat, and Mozilla engineer asking Chad how to use Firefox. Honestly, yeah. I mean, this is a weird thing. This is some old stuff. I'm not ashamed to admit that I don't often launch Firefox from the command line. Do you? And I'm looking for help here. Like, I don't have all of the answers. I can find the answers, but yeah, I'll shortcut by asking the crowd. So like, if we have a non-default profile that we're in, this whole thing is kind of busted. Like, if we're inside a non-default profile, then attempting to open Firefox, you can't just supply a different profile name. That is interesting, and might be a bug. So let's see if we can find the part that handles the profile argument. So here's your help. Dash profile. Start with profile at path. Pick a profile. We need to end up with a profile root or a local dir and potentially a profile. So select the profile directories to use. We'll select the startup profile, and that gets called by who? In main startup. Okay, so we're right at the very beginning. Like we're just starting. This is the very beginning. Like and then there was light. People are asking if instead of passing -p, does browser work on Windows like Firefox? Only -p -- browser. What does -- browser do? Browser starts with the browser component. Start with the browser component. Okay, well, let's find out. Let's try a couple things. So PB mode is not currently the default browser. Let's try some stuff. Firefox, new window. You want me to pass the path. I don't know if that's the idea or if it's more about -- browser. But let's try -- browser first. So that's a no. Let's see if we pass in the directory of the profile. So that's... What's the actual like profile directory? There, we want to use this one. Interesting. So that is like, I've never even heard of that. Maybe I have to, I can't pass -p. Maybe I have to go -profile. Okay, same problem. Now people are saying root dir, root dir. So no, instead of the, yeah, this is the root dir, roaming, app data roaming profiles. Yeah. So any other ideas from the crowd? Remove -browser. Hey, it's like Twitch programs Firefox. Hey, don't you need to use PB mode 2? Yeah, all right. Let's try PB mode 2. So that's interesting. I was able to get 1. That's PB mode 2. Now let's run it again. Huh. New window. So see, this is different. PB mode 2. How come that works? People think I should just have Twitch directly right into my console. Sounds great. Uninstall Windows? Smurfy thinks I've been using the wrong thing the whole time. It's opening the link. You think I need the double dash? So what's interesting is that this is working. PB mode 2. Now let's say if I like say new tab. I just open dash new tab. Anything? New tab. Oh, you pass it a URL. Open URL in a new tab. Foreground, private window, search term. So like if I pass in like new tab, Mozilla.org. Yeah, okay, that works. Okay. I have a hypothesis about what's going wrong here. Let's pull up about no! Didn't mean to lock. Okay. Let's pull up about profiles for a sec here. Mode. Let's just worry about this one. Let's shut it down and start over. Let's start by saying Firefox-P PB mode. Now let's do it again. That works. That works. All right. Now let's do a different thing. Let's do one in a, let's do that exact same command in a different console. And this one, that works. Okay, now here's where I think we're going to turn it sideways. Let's shut this down. Let's do mock run PB mode. And now do this. Okay. See, I just noticed when you do mock run, by default, it passes no remote. And I think that's what's happening. I think that's why Mr. Chicken 5 says he doesn't know what I'm trying to solve, but it's entertaining. That's amazing. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Mr. Chicken 5. I appreciate it. First time chatter. It's been highlighted. You're amazing. I think I've figured out what the problem is. The good news is I don't think a lot of users will be hitting this bug unless they're running off of mock run. And the thing is, whenever you mock run, by default, we pass in no remote. And I think if I don't do that, can I tell it not to do that? Remote. Do not pass the no remote. So if I go remote, right click, new private window, or new tab. Not now. What profile is this? PB mode 2. What profile am I in? PB mode. So that's not exactly right. I think this needs to be updated again. What was the command? It was that thing. Taskbar, jump list, builder, build list. Okay. I think these will now belong to the same PB mode. Okay, I found it. Okay, let's write down what we just learned. So, make it possible to manually test. Yes. The issue here was that by default, mock run uses the no remote command line argument, which prevents attaching to that running instance by using the command line like we wanted. Huzzah! So I think we've sort of like figured it out. And you know, something that I've just realized is that like if we do it this way, the way I'm suggesting, then when you right click on this, like if you use a non-default profile, we're going to write to the registry for this application. What happens, like, what's this one do? That's default, okay. It's probably okay. It's probably okay. Okay. So I think we've got ourselves a patch that kind of works. Let's shut this down. Let's relaunch. Right click, open new private window. Ba-boom, babushka. And we should be in PB mode, and over here we should be in PB mode. So that works. What we wanted to answer was, whenever we're in permanent private browsing mode, we should like rejig these. See, this is wild. Like, if you're in permanent private browsing mode, okay, here's what I'm struggling with. A user can choose different profiles at any time. You can have multiple user profiles, one that's in permanent private browsing mode, one that's in different add-ons, bookmarks and whatnot. But you can have the same executable, which means you get the same item here in the task tray. So whenever nothing is running, what should be in here? Presumably, the last one you ran, that's the one it should control, right? What should run? The profile manager? Get out of here. I mean, if you're already using, because what we originally wanted to do is we wanted to make it so that if you are using permanent private browsing mode, then like choosing to open a new private window open a new window makes no sense. Like, look, I'm going to open a new window. This is in permanent private browsing mode. If I open a new window, it's a private browsing window. That's good. That's what we wanted, I think. Open a new tab. Good. I think we want to just, like, get rid of this item if you're in an instance that has... or rather relabel this item, because, like, we don't want this. We don't want this to show up, the about private browsing page, because you're in permanent private browsing mode. We don't want to confuse people into thinking that this window is somehow more private than this one. They're both private. That's why we wrote the patch to keep the little mask in the corner. So I think what we want is the same thing that we've done over here, which is like reuse the same item, just relabel it, or like swap out the behavior so that new private window does what open new window does. So like clicking on this will do this when you're in permanent private browsing. Okay, let's work on that. Crushed Optimist asks, so this will fix a 10-year-old bug? 844660? Is this a 10-year-old bug? 844660? Opening a window from the jump list can open in the wrong instance if Firefox is using multiple profiles. I guess maybe. Well, hang on. Before I go too deep into this, let's read through this. I didn't even realize this bug existed. Let's read through some of the context, because maybe there's some complexity here that I'm not considering. I guess we could make the jump list actions also pass a profile argument. That's what I was doing. I would expect this to affect any of the actions, not just the private browsing one. How well does the new window menu entry behave with regards to this? Since Firefox will appear in the wrong profile. My question is regular windows. I just tested and narrowed down the issues, so I suspect this is a bug in our handling multiple profiles, not specific to private windows, changing the bug summary, and then it was just like blah, 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 doop, 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 doop. So yeah, this may affect, this may close this 10-year-old bug. Hey, all right. What if you run two profiles at the same time, one with private mode and one without? Oh boy. Let's find out. Let's see what we should do in that case. So let's run one instance with PB mode. And then let's run one in PB mode, or just like default profile 2. Remote. Default nightly 2. Do they use the same? What just happened? Just shut down. Well, I guess as soon as it realized I wanted to attach to the wrong profile, it was like, no, this needs to be a no remote. Oh, it doesn't accept a remote argument. That's why. Okay, so we're in default nightly 2, and I'm using the same jump list, presumably, between the two applications. So this is where things get kind of wild, because we've got these two different profiles and they share the same jump list. So who gets priority? So this is where things get rather nasty, right? Like, what do we do? I don't actually know what's going to happen if I say open new tab. Open new tab. It opened it in this one. And then if I, like, over in this instance, I run our command, which is like browser glue this thing, when task jump list builder build list. Okay, and then I do open tab. That opens it in this one. So here's it's not even the last focused window. It's going to be the last one that ran the job on idle. That's a pain. But maybe the last focused one makes the most sense. I mean, already we're kind of in this weird edge case. There are not many people, I would imagine, that are running multiple profiles at the same time. These people exist. I see you. I know you're out there. Some of you might even be watching this. But there's not many of you. We know this. So how do we make this work right? Last focused? The problem is that, like, the jump list stuff does main thread IO. That's what I remember. Is like Windows jump list causes us to do synchronous work. And so there's a lot of effort put into making it lazier and lazier. Jonathan Lindsay's like, I'd like to run two profiles at the same time. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Incoming snark. Bring it. Bring it, Jonathan Lindsay. If only there was some option for sharing data. Oh, geez. So for the people who want to use multiple, like an easier way of using multiple profiles, there is the profile switcher add-on, which is pretty good. This might be interesting for you. This takes some of the headache out of it. Should this be built in? Should we make the actual profile switcher more better? Sure. Other things to do in advance though. We'll hopefully prioritize it soon, someday. But for now, here's an add-on for you. Profile switcher. Anyway, I know that there is a known issue with jump lists with hanging. February, I don't know, it's July 29th. Like, is there still this stuff? Jump list still does main thread IO. What's the stack? When we say set path in get shell link in add list to build. So in the C++, where is that? Jump list builder. Here, we call get shell link. Should be shell links IO thread. Why is this hanging? Create file. See, yeah, this does file access. What? Why are you doing Windows storage? Set path. Jump list shortcut. This jump list shortcut. What is that? Get shell link. Here's my thinking. If we can, jump list shortcut, get shell link. If we can make constructing a jump list cheaper, then we can do it more frequently. If we can do it like lays off of the main thread whenever the application is foregrounded, maybe we don't have to worry about this so much, and we get ourselves a performance win at the same time. So there's work here that tried to move stuff off of the main thread to idle dispatch. Taskbar refresh timer. Jump list item, jump list shortcut, get shell link. So this is what's the most modern thing? Here, we pass in this thread, and then at some point, according to the hang report, we access Windows storage. Where was I? Shoot, where was I? Yeah. I wonder if it's when we create the shell link. Create iShell link. What is the signature here? C shell link set PIDL path. Create from path. Yeah, I think it's a little hard because it's all like kind of inside the internals. Is the GitHub hang thing open to public? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you want to check out hang stats, here you go. Hang stats. There you go. Oh, I should probably link to this. Where? Geez, let me. I've been putting all this stuff in here, and none of it's actually going inside. None of it is going into things that you can see. That's great. So let me copy all of this and put it into our notes here. Profile switcher, hang stats, on the no remote argument. Okay, let me update that. That should now be updated on Joy of Coding agendas. 296. It's not pretty. I should probably turn these into links. Here, it would be nice if this was done automatically for me, but hey, what are you gonna do? Maybe there's even keyboard shortcuts that I just haven't learned yet for Joplin. Come on. What's happening here? Update the thingy. Sync. Do it. What in tarnation? I'm getting distracted, but I need these links to work, eh? Oh, great. Thanks, Joplin. Here. Thanks, Joplin. So, Joplin, sometimes you're great. Sometimes, what the heck, right? Here. No? Still hate it? Amazing. Markdown, it hates it. Finally, there, we got links. Whew. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, where were we? We wanted to... no, I don't want to save the page. Creating the iShell link is, I think, happening and doing I/O on the main thread. Let's see if we can find some documentation. Thankfully, someone's linked to some. Is it still up to date? Amazing. Thread. Create a shortcut to a non-file using shell links. What? Is it thread safe? Shell link. Can I do this off of the main thread is what I want to know. Thread. Okay, so Windows create shell link off main thread. Property set shell extension with worker thread. Here we got ourselves some Stack Overflow. Worker threads currently. That, I don't think that's what I want. I'd love it if there was some documentation that told me whether or not I could do this off of the main thread. Link, proc server. It's like, is the iShell, what is the interface called? Is the iShell link, is iShell link thread safe? Shell interfaces require single-threaded apartment. Apartment. User interface code multi-threaded apartment equals def. What? What the hell's an apartment? Message loop. What does it mean? Single-threaded apartment. Anyone know what the heck is going on? Single-threaded. Oh, here we go. Oh, geez. Single-threaded apartments. The apartment model process offers a measurement. Okay. This sounds like cooperative multitasking. Okay. Why an apartment? Directly logical. COM library for each thread. What? Okay, co-initialize or call. Do we do that? Like, let me see if there are any good examples. COM wrappers, that's good. Co-initialize. Skia. Some libqb. Apartment threaded, succeeded when local file. Don't run on the main thread. Co-initialize. How about if I look for this? Apartment threaded. Apartment region. What the hell are you talking about? Oh boy, I have never been in any of this code. This looks like a bunch of like helpful MS-COM stuff for under IPC, inter-process communication. I wonder if this is stuff from like, when was this introduced? Yeah, for accessibility stuff. COM stuff for like NVDA. COM wrappers. Thread handoff. Woo. Hey, Klotz, look at you go. All right. What do I want to do here? Okay, I'm clearly out of my depth. I missed the context. Oh no, I came back here to look at COM apartments. I missed the context, but NS Windows Shell Service has some non-IPC examples of this. Windows Shell Service. Okay. Any multi-threading going on in here? Yes. Maybe. Hey, all right. Should be called off of the main thread. This is good. So who calls that? Inside here. This pinning happens off of the main thread. Pin current async impl. Pin current async. So pin current app to taskbar async impl. And who calls this? And that is actually, this must be in response to active request from the user. Correct. Do not do that just unilaterally. Can only run on the main thread, but the actual work happens on a background thread. Okay, let's see how that works. This might be a good example where we can see how we can where does this handoff occur? Are there multiple? How does this handoff occur? If we're not on the main, oh yeah. Sorry, we must be on the main thread. So we start on the main thread. And then we construct a promise. We dispatch a background task to do some stuff on this dispatch background task is running on the background thread. And what we do in here is we initialize some stuff and we attempt to I guess this is what you must do in order to do commie things off of the main thread. And that might be what we want to do over here. So get shell link. What is this? What is get shell link? What's it supposed to be doing? What is this interface? This is called from add list to build. Add list to build. Adds a list and it requires a set of items for the list. The type of list to add an array of items to add to the list. Returns true if the operation completes successfully. That is synchronous because it returns true or false immediately, and then abort, and then commits the current jump list build to the taskbar. Commit list build. That will do a runnable off of the IO thread. So some of this is done off of the main thread. Do commit list build. This happens off of the main thread, or we actually write it. But the actual building, it seems like this actually also does some IO. And I wonder if we need this to be async. Initialize jump list build returns a promise with the list of items the user removed since the last time a jump list was committed. Adds a list, and if required, a set of items for the list. If we make this like return a promise, like who calls this? Add list to build. We're getting kind of off the beaten track, but I think this is important because like add list to build, build tasks is called here. It's already in an async thing. We could we could totally make this just await a promise, like build tasks. We like construct this thing. We'll like return a promise here. And then do all of this construction off of the main thread. And the reason why we're here, just so we're clear, is because there's all this infrastructure in place to do all of this work lazily. B here some already kind of pointed it out. And part of the problem there, and the reason why I'm looking at this, is because we're entering this really weird state where we want to modify what's being written to this thing when you can have multiple profiles being kicked off and mapped to the same executable that has an item in the dock. And so, like, who gets priority? And what makes sense to me is the last focused window, or the last focused application, whichever profile that is, should probably get priority to avoid user confusion. Because, like, I'm trying to think of the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is you've got a window that's like in permanent private browsing, and you accidentally open a non-private browsing window from it and think it's a private browsing window. And then you do some things that you don't want to be recorded, and they get recorded. That's awful, and we should definitely avoid that. So I feel like you probably want, like, what's intuitive is the most recently focused one. As soon as you foreground the application, if we've changed which one has been foregrounded, we should write. We should write to at least these things, the tasks here. And maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do that asynchronously off of the main thread. Like I think all of the laziness that's happening in Windows task, or was it jump list? Windows jump list. All of the like idle and all this stuff is like, we do want to do it kind of on idle, but I think we also want to do it whenever the application is foregrounded. And if we can make that happen off of the main thread, so much, like, then we can be more aggressive about doing it. We don't have to like be so careful to wait for idle and then wait to write to the main, or to disk off of the main thread, because you never want to do that. You never want to write to disk on the main thread. So we can kind of kill two birds with one stone here. So we made a little bit of progress today. We're almost out of time, but I think what this is starting to turn into is, let's make the jump list builder part, like, let me write this down. Now that I've done this one thing, I want to make it so that this is not done yet. Make it so that when an instance of Firefox is foregrounded, that we write to the jump list on Windows. I'm actually curious about what we do on Mac OS too. I don't think I have time to check that right now. This means making Windows jump lists work fully off main thread, which is scary but seems plausible. And will help clear out where is it in the list? It's like number 4 of like, in terms of like hang time, like every like 5,557 seconds over all of our nightly users, from in a particular day. So how many minutes is that? How many user minutes are we hanging? 557 divided by 60. It's 92 minutes. It's over an hour and a half. So over an hour and a half every day of time is wasted across all of our users. Not for each individual users, but aggregated over all of our users per day. Approximately an hour and a half is wasted just doing that main thread IO and blocking the user from interacting with the browser. So we kind of get two birds with one stone if we can take care of this at the same time. Yeah, we did look at right-clicking over here. I didn't try it with multiple profiles. I'm very curious about what would happen. I actually think I know what would happen. I think each individual application instance gets its own entry in the dock. Unlike on Windows, where like I've got two instances here, but they are they're overlapped. They get the same jump list menu here in the dock, and that's different. That's not how macOS operates. So, interesting times. So we're gonna help clear out this bug, this old school bug. Yeah, and that'd be good. Old school hang bug, which would be good. And then, hang on. So I'm going to put this in order. Make jump lists, make building Windows jump list work fully off of OMT. Then we write the jump list on Windows, and then update it when in permanent private browsing. And then I think we're good. I think that's the path to success. And this is really interesting. I think we kind of dealt with this a little bit with the page icon stuff, where we're going to be doing promisey things in C++. We're going to do some off main thread stuff in C++. We're going to be exposing those promises to JavaScript. So that's going to be really interesting. We're going to be returning DOM promises from C++ to JavaScript. So that'll be fun. And we can start looking at that next week. So I'm really excited about that because this is like two birds with one stone territory. I didn't think we'd do that. This was supposed to be a simple ticket, and it's like unfolding into this epic, but I think it'll be worth it if we can do all of this. I think this will be better for users. We get to close out a couple of old bugs at the same time. So why not do it the right way? Am I right? But it's not easy. Hopefully you're seeing how what looks simple can sometimes be difficult. I hope that's clear. And that's sometimes the name of the game. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode... So that we kind of ended on a cliffhanger. What a cliffhanger. Pew, pew, pew. Actually, I don't have to do that with my mouth. I can... what a cliffhanger. Sorry if that was really loud.
How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days? Help me to recollect.
Haven't played any sounds for a while, so I'm just gonna jam some.
Why'd you spill your beans?
Okay, so I'm gonna call it there. Thank you so much for watching episode 296 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. We're gonna be trying to get the jump list stuff off of the main thread next week. That's gonna be a real trick, but we'll see how it goes. There are lots of examples to work off of. I might have to do it from home because that's going to require me to do some binary building, and I can't do that on my VM here because it's too weak. So I'm going to be working on my Windows 10 machine at home. So reminder to self, do this from home. Next episode, make sure to do it at home so I can work on my Windows 10 machine. Note to self. All right, so thanks again for watching episode 296. Have yourselves a great week. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.